Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining me today. It's Alan Barry Labucan with the Rocks and Stocks News website. It is Monday, August the 8th, and I've got a report I'm going to do today called In the News. It's been a while since I did one of these, but I've seen some news recently on junior gold companies that I think are primed to move much higher. Without cooperation with the price of gold, that can be difficult. But recently, I've been seeing some trends that I've talked about in the last few shows, primarily that the price of the US dollar had topped and was starting to look like it would go into a correction. It had been on a tremendous bull market since last September. And during that same time, of course, we saw pressure in the price of gold, silver, copper, and other commodities that are priced in the US dollar. And but I thought that it was the US dollar had been topping, which would be bullish for the price of gold and silver and copper and other metals. And since then, the trend has cooperated. We've seen the US dollar show weakness. I think that that has a lot to do with the dollar bulls out there that are getting concerned that maybe the actions by the Federal Reserve to raise interest rates to fight inflation, which was very bullish for the price of the US dollar, could be coming to an end. This last Friday, and the gold price had started to get more positive as the US dollar was coming under pressure. And this past Friday, there was a economic report out about job growth, and it came in very hot, quite a bit hotter than was expected. And this got gold, US dollar showing strength, and the price of gold coming down. But I thought that that would be very short-lived, and now it's Monday, and that seems to be the case, because I think people over the weekend had an opportunity to ask themselves, well, if we're in a recession, which the GDP numbers have shown, what kind of jobs can be created? And I think if you look into that issue, it starts to give you more concern about the economy, because I think what we saw was a lot of people taking on second and third jobs, because the jobs out there are low-paying jobs. Not a day goes by that we don't hear about big corporations that are cutting back, which means that a lot of the high-paying jobs are not existent. Had this number have been related to high-paying jobs being in a strong situation, then maybe the action on Friday would have been correct. But I think that the action we're seeing today is that the Federal Reserve is playing a game of a very dangerous game with the economy, in that if they keep on raising interest rates like they have been, there's a very good chance that they will put the US economy into a severe correction. And that will be much more troublesome than inflation. And so I think that we are getting close to the end of the Federal Reserve raising interest rates to fight inflation. The analysis out there is that the last couple of rate hikes have been 0.75%, and I think the next one will be 50% and maybe 25% after that. I think that kind of moves will be bearish for the US dollar and bullish for the price of gold. We've seen almost a perfect correlation. As the price of the US dollar has been going up, gold and other commodities have been getting under pressure. And I think we're about to see those two trends change direction opposite. I think we're going to see that the US dollar comes under pressure, and the price of gold, silver, copper, other commodities that are priced in the US dollar will be in a bull trend. And therefore, I'm looking very hard at a lot of gold stocks these days. And I even have one copper base metals story to talk about today. So let's get on to it. These companies, I'm just going to go by, there's no order other than by alphabetical. I'm not putting any priority on any over the other. The first company I'll talk about is Endurance Gold. Endurance Gold just had some news out today that I found very exciting. They reported 4 additional drill holes targeting multiple Eagle feeder zones, and they hit 8 grams over 13 meters, 8 grams over 11.9 meters, 16 grams over 4.3 meters. Basically, everywhere they drill in this orogenic gold system, they've been hitting high grade. They have had, prior to these 4 holes, had been focusing on the near surface high grade gold mineralization, and they hit a lot of it. Now they're starting to look at the vertical dimension, and it looks like they found 4 feeder zones that are what got that gold that they've hit near surface up there. And so now they're in an orogenic gold system that is now they're starting to assess the vertical element. The interesting thing about these orogenic systems is that they are big cracks in the earth, very old rocks, which opens up where the fluids with the high-grade gold can make their way to surface. What's interesting is that they're not just getting thin intersections, they're getting thick intersections. So that suggests to me that they're hitting some of these dilation zones where inside they can open up and create pockets where you have these very high grades over thick intersections, and that's a good indicator that this is a powerful gold mineralizing system. The fluids are carrying high grade all the way up to the extension of an orogenic gold system. Basically, what it comes down to is I think this company has a company-making asset at their project, their Eagle area of their Reliance Gold project. You know, if they can keep on finding what I think they'll find, their current market valuation will be very cheap and it will go up quite dramatically. They're aggressively drilling right now. And I think that they're going to have a excellent news flow as we move forward. And so Endurance Gold, their stock symbol is EDG on the Venture Exchange. They also trade on the pink sheets. EDGF is the stock symbol down in the US for my US viewers. And I'm really quite optimistic about what I see in this entire system. And as I said, I think it's a company maker that will make this company a much higher valuation company, even 10x or more, I think is in play with this company. So take a look at Endurance Gold. They've been a past sponsor of my website, so I've done a bunch of interviews with them. You can go to my YouTube channel at Rocks and Stocks News and look up those interviews that I did with Robert and Robert Boyd, and I think you'll like what you hear. And then go to their website, check out their news releases, their corporate presentation, all that sort of stuff. The next company I'm going to talk about today is Galantis Gold. Galantis is another former sponsor of the website, and really optimistic about their project in Ireland. Just a few days ago, they announced 31 grams of gold over 4.4 meters at their Omagh project. They're in the process of bringing this into production. In the near surface stuff, they can mine what looks like high margin material and then use those underground workings to further drill deep deeper into this is also an orogenic gold system. And yeah, I mean, they've got some phenomenal grades in there. 69 grams over 1.4 meters of gold, 10 grams over 3.3 meters. They've also got some silver in that system. And that reminds me of another company that I saw in a similar situation, that it's quite an exciting project that, you know, when you're looking at these high grade systems, what you need to find is continuity and predictability. They are starting to bang off these dilation zones very consistently. These dilation zones are, again, you've got the orogenic fault, or the fault that allows these orogenic gold systems to come up, and then at certain points it'll open up, and you can get these phenomenal high grades. And both of these companies, the model that they're looking at is what Kirkland Lake had in the back or in Australia when they found the Swan Zone at the Fosterville mine. It turned them into one of the most profitable high grade mining or gold mining companies in the business, and ultimately got them bought out. You know, they were already a multi-billion-dollar company before they got bought out and before they found and mined the Swan Zone. So, you know, these Endurance and Galantis both have valuations under around 50 million each. And, you know, these are the kind of things that can create a $500 million to $1 billion valuation. So I'm quite optimistic that they can see tremendous performance in their stock going forward. And I like their business plan. They're mining, and they're going to get cash flow from that, which will help them fund their deeper exploration, looking for a Fosterville lookalike, a Swan Zone lookalike. And this will keep their share structure nice and tight, and give them the opportunity to see tremendous performance as they drill deeper. And I think that this company is another one that, you know, I really think that they have what, and including Endurance, I think they've got company making assets, and yet they're being valued like they don't. And if we start to see more optimism towards gold stocks, these are the kind of companies that can just blow the top off of things and be big winners for their shareholders. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen. Another company, the next company is High Gold Mining. High Gold had a couple of news releases out. They provided an update on their exploration work on their key project in Alaska. And at that project, they have a resource of around 1 million ounces at around 10 grams per ton. These kind of assets are very attractive. They're hard to find. 1 million ounces of high grade that looks like it can grow is a heck of a good asset. But not far from that resource, they found a big discovery last year that sent their stock into orbit, called the DC project. And at the DC target, they hit thick intersection of extreme high grade gold in a lens or in a horizon of rock that looked like it had the potential to go from one side of the mountain where they have the DC all the way over to the other side of the mountain where they have their Milkbone project. And the reason that that looks to be accurate is that the rocks on both sides of the mountain look to be the same. So it looks like they have a vertical near surface horizon of rock, and they finished off 15 holes in this DC area, and they continue to drill. They've got lots of money to do that. Next, I think they're going to go after the Milkbone. And then once they drill into the DC and the Milk Bone, there's a very big, over 1 kilometer horizon of the right kind of rock to keep drilling at. And what's a beautiful situation about this is that the mineral, that horizon is close to surface on both sides of the mountain, and then easily drilled with angled holes from either side of the mountain. So they can get a lot of holes into this DC and Milkbone area, and they're also drilling at the resource. So this company is going to generate a lot of news, and I think they're going to generate it very quickly, because this year they put a preparation lab on the project. A lot of the delays, well, all of the delays with lab results for junior mining companies is in the sample preparation. It's not in the actual assaying. The sample preparation takes a lot of time, and that's what's been causing all the delays. So these guys have bit the bullet, put their own lab in there. They're going to do all the sample prep on the property and then send the concentrate off for assaying. And that's going to generate a lot of news in between now and the end of the year. And so I'm very optimistic about that. But a project that gets really under-loved in their evaluation is their Timmins project. They announced that they have increased their land position by 25%. They also announced that they hit some very good and interesting grades of drilling in their early drilling at the project. What makes this project very exciting to me is that it hadn't had modern exploration done for decades, because it was a patchwork of projects that were held by families. But what was interesting about the area is when it was in production many decades ago, it had extreme high-grade gold. A good place to look for a mine, it's always said in the business, is where there's been past mining. A good place to look for extreme high-grade gold is in a place where they, in the past, they mined extreme high-grade gold. And that's exactly what they have in Timmins. Right now, the focus is going to be primarily on their Alaska project, as it should be. But I think that this Timmins project could turn into something quite spectacular as well. So they've got a good combination of two projects that I'm quite excited about. The stock is trading at around its 52-week low, although it's come off of that bottom. I think that has a lot to do with two things. Gold is getting more bullish. Secondly, they've started drilling in Alaska and are banging those holes off quite quickly, and should have a good flow of assay results back from that drilling very quickly. So I'm very optimistic about high gold. The next company, I-80 Gold, they've been a very good sponsor of my website. I really appreciate it, because they're able to help me to produce these reports that I like to produce for companies. But more importantly, they deliver a lot of great news with their drilling. I think they have two world-class projects in Nevada that really aren't being appreciated as much as they should be in their stock valuation. But I think that that's going to change. They just had news out on their Granite Creek project from underground drilling. And again, they keep hitting tremendous results. 16 grams of gold over 33 meters. That's a metal factor of over 500 when you calculate the gram meters. And that's pretty spectacular stuff. They had another intersection at 24 grams per ton over 14 meters. So there you're looking at a metal factor of about 300. They had a bunch of other holes that that they announced as well that all looked equal. Everywhere they put a hole down, they get excellent grades of gold and over nice intersections as well. Really what it's coming down to at Granite Creek is, as there was near surface past production, that the company that had the asset then probably rushed into get into production, and they didn't do enough drilling. As I-80 Gold has taken over this project, they've drilled around those old workings, and then they've continued to follow them down. And it's almost like you're seeing a situation that, okay, you have this high grade going down in like a tube, and now it's expanding and widening and getting higher grade as they get deeper into that Granite Creek system. And with these grades and the tremendous continuity that they've received, it's not out of out of line to call this a world-class project in Nevada. Now, their other world-class project in Nevada is their Ruby Deeps project. Well, it's the overall Ruby Hill project, but what's really caught my attention and excitement is they've got their Ruby Deeps project. They hit very thick intersections of high-grade gold as well in a group of drill holes on a target that had only seen minimal drilling in the past. So it's getting bigger, it's already big, it's getting bigger, and it's high grade. And then they've got satellite targets on the greater Ruby Hills area. The last time I was speaking with Ewan Downey in one of our interviews, he was saying that they're quite optimistic for some base metals as well, higher up in the system. So, and then they've got other targets that look quite compelling, other zones that could develop as well. Ruby Hills, based on Ruby Deeps alone, is a world-class project. They start hitting on other parts of the Ruby Hill project, and kitty bar the door. I think that this company is well on its way to becoming a 200,000 to 500,000 ounce gold producer in Nevada, and that kind of situation turns the company into a multi-billion-dollar valuation company. Yet they only have a valuation of around $500 million. This company is the kind of company that I can see you putting your money into and watching it grow as the company grows into a bigger company without a lot of risk. It's trading near its 52-week low, which takes even more risk out. But this company has a whole slew of news flow that I see coming out. Well, gold is getting stronger, and that's the kind of company that can see their stock valuation, grow at a much more rapid pace than the movement in the price of gold. I just think that this is a cornerstone holding that investors should be looking at putting money into whenever they can, especially when it's down here at these low valuations, and watch it grow into a very big company as we move forward. Okay, now I want to move to P2 Gold. P2 Gold is drilling right now on their project in the up in the Golden Triangle. The guys that run this company have had tremendous success in the Golden Triangle. They were instrumental in finding and building the mine at Pretium. Pretium was a big winner for my shows. I started following it at $3, ultimately was bought out for $19 in the past year. And these guys are trying to do it again, and I think they will. They're drilling right now on their project in the Golden Triangle. I think that they're going to have great news flow because they have a very good understanding of the mineralization from the rocks and the drilling that they've done in the past and the geology. But they also came out with some very interesting stuff from their Nevada project. They hit 1.57 grams per ton gold over 24 meters, and within 112 meter intercept of 0.81 grams per ton gold. A lot of this is in the oxide material, and that's exactly what makes up the mines in Nevada. But I would also say that most of those mines these days are under a half a gram per ton. These guys are looking at better than 3/4 of a gram per ton, and these guys know how to build mines. I'm optimistic about their Nevada stuff and extremely optimistic about what they have going at their Golden Triangle project. And the fact that these guys have done it before, even before they came to Pretium, they had worked for a major silver miner and had found and built a lot of mines. So these guys know what they're doing when it comes to what they need to find to build mines. They've done it before, found and built. And I think they're going to do it again, possibly at both their Nevada and their Golden Triangle project in British Columbia. So take a look at P2 Gold. They've also been a past sponsor of my website. So I've done a lot of interviews with them. Go to Rocks and Stocks News at YouTube, and you'll find a bunch of interviews that I've done with both Ken McNaughton, the geologist, and Joe Ovsenek, who's the sort of business brains behind the company. And I think you'll like what you hear in those interviews. Look at their results, and I think you'll like what you see. Next company I'm going to talk about is 9 Mile Metals. These guys have found some thick lenses of massive sulfides with extreme high grade copper, zinc, and other metals. And in these VMS, they're volcanogenic massive sulfides to make it less geology. These are volcanoes that bring these massive sulfides to the surface. And they're known to occur in clusters. I think this company has a potential to find a cluster of these lenses, but then those lenses come off of something bigger. Think of it like a volcano that you see the lava flow at the top of the volcano. In that lava flow is where you get these lenses in these VMS, but there's a bigger vent that creates these thick lenses with extreme high grade. And I think that this company is going to find those big, massive sulfide vents that create these thick lenses of high grade. And to do that, they recently announced that they closed off of financing to raise 1.68 million. They also gave an update on their plans to start drilling again. Prior to doing that drilling, and I know that a lot of times geophysics don't catch the imagination of investors, but I will be watching for those geophysics very closely. I've been fortunate to have a mentor who formerly ran was the world exploration manager for Anglo. He's a geophysicist. We worked together for many years. He taught me a tremendous amount about what to look for. We spent a lot of time looking for diamonds together, and these are also volcanogenic events. So I got a pretty good handle on what to look for in the geophysics. And I'll be eagerly looking for the indication that they have magma chambers or a big vent that created these lenses with the high grade. And either one will turn this company into a massive winner, because what you find in the lenses is indicative of what you're going to find in a magma chamber or in a volcanogenic massive sulfide vent. If you find it in the extensions, you're probably going to find lots of high grade in the source of where those lenses came from. This company only has a valuation of around 12, 14 million, which is quite incredible to me considering what they've already found. I don't think the market is showing any potential that they could find a series of lenses or magma chambers or a volcanogenic massive sulfide event that brought these lenses to the surface. And if you're bullish on copper and zinc and even gold and silver, which are also in the mix, which is often the case with massive sulfide bodies, I think you want to own some of this 9 Mile Metals at this current valuation. I have done one interview. They're not a sponsor of my website, but I have done one interview with the company. You can go to my YouTube channel at Rocks and Stocks News. I'm hopeful that they do become a sponsor because I think that this company is going to have a tremendous future with excellent news flow. And I would like to keep doing interviews with them to tell this story as important milestones happen. So 9 Mile Metals, they trade on the both the Canadian Stock Exchange. The stock symbol there is 9, N-I-N-E. They also trade on the OTCQB. For my audience in the US, the stock symbol is VMSXF. So check out that interview I did with them in the past. Check out their website, 9milemetals.com. And I think you'll be impressed with what you see out of 9 Mile Metals. Okay, the final company I'm going to talk about today is Silkman Minerals. Silkman is a sponsor of my website. They have been for quite some time now. Again, I'm very thankful for that because it allows me to do these interviews. Originally, why I invited the company is I'm very impressed with their Moosehead project. It's another one of these orogenic gold systems where you have cracks in the earth in old rocks, which allows the fluids to come up and do that multiple times in a long-lived system. They're getting their handle on the near surface portion, and I think that they'll transition to start looking deeper to find that vertical component of an orogenic gold system. And that's where you can find your swan zones in a orogenic system like they did at Fosterville. That in itself can be a company making type situation. But I think that they've got a second project that is not getting a lot of attention yet, is their lithium project called Kraken. This is one of these hard rock pegmatite type systems. They are a very important source of lithium from Australia. They mine these pegmatites and they're high grade. They tend to not be as big as the brine deposits in the lithium triangle of South America, but they are now the largest source of lithium in the world. Canada has that same kind of potential for pegmatites. There hasn't been a lot of exploration for those. But these guys are on to what I think has the realistic potential of being an important pegmatite discovery. You look at the discovery of their spodumene dikes. and you can see it just littered with spodumene in those in the results that they've recently shown pictures of. And that's the kind of thing that can deliver very good grades. When you see that kind of prolific amount of spodumene, where you've already found spodumene and you've found high grades, that's a very good situation. They've drilled 13 holes so far. They're very optimistic, as I am, that they can deliver excellent results from that. And so you've got a dual opportunity here. You've got a orogenic gold system that looks like it could have a swan zone in it, or maybe multiple swan zones. It's in the right kind of rocks. It's in the right kind of system. They've hit a lot of high grade. But now you've got this up and coming lithium project that I don't think is being appreciated. Not only do you have the spodumene in these in the rocks over thick intersections, but you've got the surface exposure of those dikes that look quite big as well. So I think Canada is going to start having more of these pegmatite discoveries, and Silkman could be a leader in that regard. So take a look at Silkman. As I said, I've done several interviews with them. Go to my YouTube channel, Rocks and Stocks News on YouTube, and you'll find the chats that I've had with Tim Froud, who runs the company. Real straight shooting geologist who's got a lot of experience, and I think that experience is going to pay dividends at both their Moosehead and their Kraken lithium project. So on that note, as always, do your homework, speak with your financial advisors. Great place to do that homework is I've interviewed all of these companies. Go to YouTube and check out Rocks and Stocks News, and you can do homework there. You can do homework on their websites, go through their news releases, go through their corporate presentations. Consider me biased. Some of them are current sponsors on my website. Some of them have been in the past. Some of them I hope to be in the future. But regardless of whether they are or not a sponsor, I use the same filter to look for companies to talk about on my shows. And so, you know, you don't make it as a sponsor unless you pass those filters. And those filters have been built up over my extensive career in the business. I've been at it since 1993. In the exploration business, I've had tremendous mentors in geophysics, geology, geochemistry. I've run my own exploration company at Advanced Lithium, formerly Advanced Gold. I've been in charge of drilling a lot of holes with the Truth Machine. I've been involved as a consultant with companies over the years that have drilled and made important discoveries. And this is a group that I think fall into those same kind of categories. So on that note, have a great day, and we will talk to you soon.